On April 1st, 1976, in his parents' garage, Steve Jobs, along with his friend and partner Steve Wozniak, made the computer accessible to the masses. The two young men had the audacious idea that computers should be for everyone, not just the computer elite. They set about to design computers that were less cumbersome, less expensive, more instinctive to the user, and easily usable by the public. Their out-of-the-box ideas were looked down upon by the established computer companies. But the Apple I revolutionized the computer manufacturing business by reducing cost and increasing usability. Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak built a computer for the world. Before Apple, most computers were bulky machines that took up large surface area. These machines were difficult to operate and expensive to own. Early computers were usually housed in large utility cabinets, taking up massive amounts of room. Over time, computer companies reduced the size of the computer, but no one ever really thought of marketing a computer for the home. One executive at Hewlett-Packard even turned Steve Wozniak down after hearing his sales pitch for the Apple I design. In addition to their large space requirements, early computers were extremely expensive to buy and very difficult to operate. The very first computer created, the ENIAC, cost about $500,000 to purchase for the U.S. Defense Department. The operational cost and maintenance was no less expensive because the early computers used vacuum tubes to operate. Finally, early computers used binary code to communicate. This code was extremely difficult to write and interpret. Specialists were needed to write individual codes for the businesses that purchased these computers. In 1975, just 1 year prior to the Apple I, the Altair 8080 by MITS appeared. Though the Altair was a small personal computer of sorts, it was still operated by switches and lights and had no ports to add crucial components like a monitor or keyboard. With the introduction of the Apple I computer, the first steps to computerizing the world began. No one prior to 1976 had tried to mass produce the personal computer. Computer kits could be bought and assembled, but no one was offering a pre-assembled computer. Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak were able to do just that with the Apple I. It was easier to use, easier to maintain, and at $666.66, it was cost efficient. The Apple I came as a single circuit board integrated with the Motorola 6800 processor. All the buyer needed to do was build the housing. This single exercise gave the owner the ability to still be a part of the design process. The shells ranged from basic wooden boxes to industrial metal cases that gave the computer a futuristic feel. It's said that at least one of the 200 units sold was mounted into a briefcase. The circuit board and keyboard were installed inside while a power cord ran out the back, crafting the very first laptop. Almost 1 year to the day of the Apple I release, Apple II was introduced. This model came with a keyboard, its own case, 8 expansion slots, a high-resolution color graphic card, and sound. No more switches and blinking lights. Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak had created the PC market. Their reimagining of the computer as a personal device, rather than strictly a corporate machine, revolutionized the way companies built and marketed computers from the day forward. Large computer companies began to take notice of the upstart at Apple. Apple Computers went public in 1980, and shortly after, other companies like IBM began to follow their PC designs. With the success of the Apple I computer, Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak were able to continue their work by launching new platforms such as the Apple II, the Apple III, the Macintosh computers, and all the iProducts of today. The Apple Corporation we know today had very humble beginnings back in 1976. Starting in the Jobs family garage in Los Altos, California, Apple has grown into massive corporate offices in Cupertino, California. Along the way, Apple's vision and goal to give everyone who wants a computer the ability to obtain one has been key to their success. Without this forward thinking and innovative greatness, we might not have many of the high-tech instruments we take for granted today. The Apple I set the world upon a road to technological freedom, and we haven't looked back. The iProducts of today are the culmination of a lifetime of work by Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak to give the world a computer. With every new product, the world gets smaller, and information becomes more accessible. Apple has been the innovator of simple-to-use products that bring information to the customer's fingertips. Steve Jobs once said, "If you make some of the best products in the world, but you also make a lot of crap, get rid of the crap." Apple has done a superb job of weeding out the crap. They don't have the most products on the market. They just have the most used products on the market. Everywhere you look, you can see the handiwork of the Apple Corporation. It's safe to say that Apple is no longer just a computer company. Apple is an icon, a brand that has set itself apart from all other computers, MP3 players, phone companies, and tablet manufacturers. In 1976, Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak started out with a dream to give us a personal computer, but they ended up giving us so much more. With so much success behind them, we can only wait and wonder at what amazing toys they will give us next.